Hey everybody, welcome to the Edge's Facebook page's #1 show at this particular time. 3 to 5 things we didn't have time to talk about today. I am your ungroomed host, Fred Kennedy. Dude, I didn't comb my hair. I forgot to do my hair today. I'm sorry. I failed you and I apologize, but you know why? Because I was hanging out at this week's sponsor, Train Like Heroes, 400 Monarch Avenue in Ajax. I did the boot camp class today, and let me tell you, it was a doozy. We were doing one of my favorite things to do, hitting the heavy bag. We were like for a whole 45 seconds just throwing hooks on the heavy bag. And I loved it. I loved every second of it. Because the best thing about fighting a heavy bag is it won't punch you back in the face. Also, there's a little bit of a promotion right now at Train Like Heroes. If you go in and bring someone in with you, like two of you are like, I should go to the gym. I also should go to the gym. If you go in together, both of you get 50% off. That's a good deal on whatever package or plan that you buy. Let's get right into this. Game of Thrones. We are going to talk about Sunday night's episode. The reason we're talking about it, it's now been 2 days. So if you're a fan, you've had ample time. You've had 2 days to see it. Also, this episode leaked last week. Note, just because it leaked doesn't mean I expect people to watch it, because it's event television. People get together with their little groups of friends. They all sit down and they all watch it together as a group. But time has passed. The window's over. Let's talk about Game of Thrones. The writers and producers of the show have admitted that they done screwed up. Now, why? How did they screw up? Well, to catch you up, remember, they went north of the wall. Jon Snow went north of the wall with his buddies, the Magnificent Seven. And what was great about that episode was they spent a lot of time building characters and building relationships. And that's something that they haven't done a lot of this year. And the reason they haven't done a lot of it is you can definitely tell that the producers and writers are aware that they are under the gun and they've got to wrap everything up by the end of next season. It's very frustrating that that's what they're doing, but that's what they have to do. But during the episode in the beginning, you had a lot of the characters all talking to each other, you know? You had Tormund talking to the Hound, and he's got this great line when he's talking to the Hound. He goes, "You're a big mean bastard, aren't you? But you're not really mean. You've got sad eyes." And it's like, Tormund Giantsbane is like the best character. Like, all the good lines came from him. That whole scene where all the characters are talking. You've got Ser Jorah talking to Jon. You've got Gendry finally making peace with Dondarrion and Thoros of Myr. So many great scenes happened in that little walk as they're wandering up through the ice. Okay, but this is where things get a little bit silly. They end up capturing their first White Walker. Oh, I guess it was a white, because White Walkers have the blue eyes and the white skin. This was just like an undead white. So they capture the white, and immediately it's like, help other whites and White Walkers, I have been captured. And so then a giant army of the dead starts bearing down on him. Jon Snow looks at Gendry and like, get out of here, you're the fastest runner. So he runs and he takes off and he runs back to the wall. As soon as that happened, both my wife and I kind of look at each other and went, really? Really? That's what's happening? He's going to run all the way back? Because we're thinking they've probably been like wandering north of the wall for like a day or two. But evidently not. Because he's running all the way back to the wall. Gendry runs from where they are through the rocky passes and all that stuff, somehow knowing exactly where he's going, ends up heading back to the wall. Now, this is at this point, this is when the whole episode kind of falls off the rails. Because while he's running, Jon Snow and his little group of merry men and marchers run onto a frozen lake towards an island. The ice breaks, all the undead fall in from the weight, and they all start sinking to the bottom while they're stuck there on the island. So Gendry is running back to the wall so they can send a raven all the way south to Dragon's Reach, and then somehow Daenerys can send the dragons to get all the way back in time. The issue is, and I've done the math on this, a raven only flies about 40 kilometers an hour, okay? And that's if it's going top speed the whole way, doesn't stop at all, 40 kilometers an hour. It's over 2,000 kilometers to Dragon's Reach. So it has to fly all the way there, not stopping at all for food or for rest, then get there, then Dany's got to get onto her dragons immediately and fly all the way back in order to save them before they die, because the ice is all freezing, etc., etc., etc. And I've read a whole bunch of different calculations at this point with people trying to bend over backwards as ways of justifying the timeline of what happened. Because the way it was edited, you're meant to think that it's like a day and a half, which is impossible. It had to have been a minimum of 4 days with Jon Snow and his buddies stuck on that island with the undead all around them the whole time, with no food or water. Like, maybe they had water because they're chipping away at the ice and they could drink the water there. But they had no food, no fire, and aside from ice, which would have lowered their body temperatures dramatically, nothing. They would have died. They wouldn't have survived. But let's get on to a clutch detail here. This is what Dany was wearing, okay? Now, the suggestions for her to have made it from Dragon's Reach all the way to the north suggest that she would have been had to have flying at around 100 kilometers an hour. Now, have you ever ridden your bike in the winter? Once you get going around 20 kilometers an hour, unless you've got really good gloves, your hands are freezing. Your face is freezing. She's riding on the back of that dragon doing 100 kilometers an hour through winter weather high up in the air, and she's not wearing gloves or a toque? Come on! There's no way it would have worked. None. She would have died. She would have had frostbitten hands and fallen off. No. It's all wrong. Doesn't work, okay? And then the battle happens. Of course, Viserion, one of her dragons, ends up getting taken out and then turned into a zombie dragon. Note, that is not an ice dragon. There was that big theory going around last week that there would be an ice dragon in this week's episode. And when I think ice dragon, I think, a dragon made of ice that breathes ice, not a fire-breathing dragon that gets killed and resurrected. That is, a zombie dragon. A very tough enemy to fight in Final Fantasy I, mind you. Zombie dragons. Not cool at all. But the silliness kind of keeps going in the episode. And this is being said, even with all the silliness, I still really liked it. It's still really good. Jon Snow ends up being pulled under the water. Now, this is what kind of bugged me about that scene. Jon Snow ends up getting pulled into the water by the zombies, which makes you think that all those zombies under there are still alive. Because remember, zombies came up from underneath the water to grab Tormund to pull him in. So Jon goes under, somehow fights off zombies underwater, holding his breath for 3 minutes, and then, soaking wet, climbs out of the water, and, I'm gonna fight everybody. Then at a left field, when Uncle Benjen comes, talk about Deus Ex Machina. Deus Ex Machina is one of the most annoying things that you ever see, and it seems to be happening a lot. That's a good sign of lazy writing. Deus Ex Machina means that all of a sudden, out of left field, no one saw it coming, something comes along to save the day without any setup, any allusions to it throughout the story at all. All of a sudden, Uncle Benjen, Cold Hands, is just there. He's just there. And he goes, "Get on the horse and ride." Listen, I took first aid in St. John Ambulance Cadets, okay? And I'm telling you, if you're soaking wet and covered in wet wool and wet fur, get on a horse in minus 20-degree weather and then ride for 8 hours, you're gonna die. That's just the way your body functions. And that's what happened. The ride through the cold, out of all the ridiculous things that were happening in the episode, that's the most ridiculous. Jon Snow and his frozen musical ride. Ugh. Look at him there. Now, he's not wet and cold. I said I need wet and cold. He's looking so hot in that one. Moving on. Can we talk about these two for a second here? Come on, Arya. Shut up. Quit being so dumb. Jeez. I saw a lot of people crapping on Sansa because of the way she was acting in the episode. How is Sansa out of line? You're telling me that Arya is gone, traveled to Bravos, done all the stuff with the Faceless Men, come back, wanting to kill all the people on her kill list, and this is like for years she's had this kill list. And all it takes is one piece of paper for her to suddenly be like, "Oh, Sansa, I might kill you too. How would you like that?" Meh. No, that doesn't make any sense. There is a chance, and this is what I'm hoping. This is what I'm hoping, because I've really come to like Sansa a lot. And how can you not like Arya? Arya and the Hound were the best duo of the show ever had, as far as I'm concerned. Like, Pod and Brienne are very funny. Well, Pod with everybody is very funny. But Arya and the Hound were great. My hope is that Arya and Sansa, or just Arya's playing an angle, and she's really just trying to push Sansa to see what she can get. And then she's going to come, and she's going to kill Littlefinger. I just want Littlefinger to die. I do. I want Littlefinger to die. Unless maybe he really does love Sansa and Arya's mom so much that he would never harm any members of the Stark family. But I just don't see that. I just don't want Arya and Sansa to fight, okay? I just like them both so much. Okay, we're moving on from Game of Thrones. Uh-oh. The Fappening, round 2. Do you remember the Fappening? Jennifer Lawrence was the big star of the original Fappening. That's when all the cell phones and cloud devices got hacked and nude photos got leaked everywhere. Apparently there's a new batch of all kinds of celebrities out there, amongst them Tiger Woods, Kristen Stewart, and Miley Cyrus. And congratulations, Alex, on finding probably the only wholesome picture of Miley Cyrus that's been taken over the last 5 years. Excellent work. So, yes, they were taking photographs of a sexual nature, them being nude in sexual acts, etc., 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 and they've stored them on cloud devices and cell phones, and those have since been hacked and leaked across the internet. Here's the thing, man. Just keep this in your head whenever you're taking a photograph of your genitals. Just expect it to get onto the internet. Just assume that every picture you take with your phone has leaked online. We've all seen that movie about Snowden. Here's the thing. If it's not the whole internet looking at your junk, it's some nerd working for the NSA looking at your junk. How about that? You're doing a sex show for a computer spy in the United States. That's what you're doing. That's what you're doing. Having phone sex with somebody, you're doing a phone sex performance for a nerd for the NSA in the US. That's what you're doing. That's what's happening. Just every time you take a photo with your phone, it's going to end up somewhere. Keep that in mind. Somewhere right now, a very rich Saudi oil prince, probably he's not a real member of the royal family, just a cousin getting a cut of the money. That guy is paying hackers to look at you, and he's J-O-ing furiously to you right now. You're all thinking about that picture you took. You are. I know you are. Most guys, not really so much, because a guy's dong picture is just a dong. They all look the same. That's the thing with breasts are so wonderful and great. They've got different shapes. There's a different type of breast for everybody out there. You know? Everybody. Everybody's got a breast for them. Penises are all just blue. You ever seen a blobfish? That's what penises are. If there was a spirit animal for penises, it'd be the blobfish. Why? Because it's just doing its thing. There's nothing special about it. Like an octopus, that's majestic and do amazing things. If your penis is an octopus, good for you. That's some great stuff. Just remember, girl taking that picture, this guy, or maybe it's a girl, we don't know because the hoodie's very dark, is looking at it. Moving on. Okay. I want to talk to you about John Hostin. John Hostin, Hotson, is this dude from the States that is a massive Princess Diana collector. You see that cake? That is Princess Diana's wedding cake. And the top layer, of course, is a fruit cake. And this guy, John Hotson, actually has a piece of that fruit cake that he has been keeping since her wedding day way back when. Who is that obsessed with Princess Diana? I'm sorry, but that is just really creepy. I want you to think for a second. You go to your buddy's house. You're not even super good friends or anything. They're just your friend. Oh, by the way, this guy's collection also features him getting fan mail or sending fan mail to the members of Princess Diana's wedding party, one of whom was her cousin who was 5 years old at the time of the wedding. He wanted to get her wedding invitation. That's just weird. Imagine you've got a buddy that you work with. They're all right. They're okay. You go back to their place, we're going to go to the Jays game. Let's have a beer at my place. We'll head over. Oh, cool. That's good. Then you go in and they've got their shrine to Princess Diana. And then you look at it. First of all, you're creeped out because who the hell has a Princess Diana shrine in their house? But you go over there and you look at their Princess Diana shrine. And then after you're looking around oh, I've saved the best part. Let's look in my fridge. And you're like, oh, God, it's a severed head. It's a severed head of a prostitute that looks just like Princess Diana, isn't it? That's what you've got in your That's where I'm thinking. If we go to a freezer, that's where my head is at. Not that my head is in the freezer, but the severed head that looks like Princess Diana is in the freezer. Hold on. Do I look like Princess Diana? Let's do it. I don't. Do I?
A little.
Oh, great! This guy's going to come decapitate me and put my head in his freezer. Anyways, he opens up the fridge and there's a piece of the fruitcake from her wedding. That's weird. That's when I'm like, oh, God, I got diarrhea. I got to go. I just leave. I make any excuse. I would literally poop in my pants to leave at that point. I will. You know what? Have fun telling that story at work, buddy. Oh, yeah, Fred came over and he pooped his pants. What a loser. Oh, yeah? Why did I poop my pants, John Hotzen? Because you have Princess Diana's fruitcake in your fridge, you weirdo. Ugh, that's just weird. I'm not a collector guy. I did collect one thing once. Do you remember the Star Wars Episode 1 Phantom Menace Pepsi cans? I had all of them. I had all 24 of those cans. And I remember because I was working at like a canteen on the Aldershot Army base. And so when all the new Pepsi shipments and all that stuff would come in, I would just rifle through all of the stacks. And then I collected all 24. I didn't even think I paid for them. Justin Trudeau, if you're watching, in 1998, I stole 24 Pepsi cans from the Canadian government. And the sad part is I was like so amped about them. And I remember when I moved into like my first apartment, I had them like lined up on like the fireplace that didn't work in my really crappy basement apartment. And I had them all lined up. And then one of my friends came over and was like, you got any mix? I'm like, no. You got all these Pepsi cans right there. I'm like, man, you can't use those. Those are my Star Wars Pepsi cans. He goes, well, what are you keeping them for? And I went, I don't know, actually. I've got no idea why I'm keeping them. Let's just drink them. So I think over the next week, I just drank all of them. That was my one stab at collecting. I tried. I just couldn't do it, all right? I'm no Waylon Smithers. Now, that man knows how to collect. And the weird thing is, if I went over to my friend's house and they had all of the Barbie dolls in like a massive room of Barbie dolls, I honestly would be less creeped out than I would be if it was Princess Diana memorabilia. I have no idea why. I think it's because my buddy John Garbett on Q107 has an incredibly huge like wrestling action figure collection. So I can get behind that because wrestling action figures are just a step away from Barbie dolls. If somebody's getting really mad, remember the rubber wrestling figures? And they had the ring? Those things were lethal. I remember I cracked one of my friends with King Kong Bundy once, and it like almost knocked them out cold. I got in a lot of trouble for it. Okay. We're at that point. I need a drink. Honestly, if this was like whiskey, I'd feel better, because I really need some whiskey right now. Because I'm about to get a little bit pissy about something. L'Oreal and Estee Lauder. Is it Estee Lauder?
Estee Lauder.
Estee Lauder, whatever the hell it is. See, here's the thing. I don't even give a shit. I'm dying. I think it's because Estee Lauder heard... Is it Estee Lauder?
You got it, man. Yeah.
Estee Lauder? Whatever. It doesn't matter. Shut up, all of you. I'm dying because I'm choking and I'm embarrassed because I screwed up a famous makeup company. God, all my media credibility is gone. Ugh, no one will ever pick me to be a you Googleizer at their funeral. I'll tell you that right now. Anyways, L'Oreal and Estee Lauder have had a massive petition filed against them because they say that the term anti-aging is offensive. It's not. I'm going to give you guys a hard spoonful of truth. You're all going to get old. You're all going to get droopy and gross, and then you're going to die like that. That is real life. You can be, oh my God, I can't believe he said that. We're all going to get old and die. Some of us aren't even going to get old. They're just going to die, okay? You're going to get old. Stop getting upset about reality. I get so sick of... Like, don't get me wrong. There is a time and a place for political correctness. You don't say deliberately offensive things to people just to rile them all up. But it's different when it's scientific truth. You can't just say, reality is offensive, so don't acknowledge it. That is called being an idiot. You know what else isn't offensive? Being fat is unhealthy. It's very unhealthy. A lot of people would say that being fat is gross. But whatever. Some people find it a real big turn on. Some people find being old a real big turn on. MILF porn is getting very big. Grandma MILF porn. GILF porn is getting huge. Trust me. My wife and kids have been out of town for a week. I've been JOing constantly. So I'm seeing it all. Being fat is really unhealthy. It is. You can talk about, it's important to be body positive. It doesn't matter how big you are. You're beautiful. Sure, you can be beautiful, but you're going to die because you're living a horrible life. It is more detrimental to your health to be morbidly obese than it is to smoke a pack of cigarettes a day. That's science. You can say that you have to accept me for who you are. Good. You should be accepting the fact you're going to die soon because you're living a horrible life. You're really damaging your body. That's not me saying you're not beautiful. That's just because beauty is subjective. I'm just telling you, being fat is terrible for your body. But that's offensive to say. When a doctor is telling you things and you can say it's offensive, that's bad. That doctor's medical advice was offensive because I didn't like it. That's science, buddy. Science doesn't give a shit if you like it or not. That's just the way the universe works. How is it that it's okay to crap on people for smoking all the time, but you can't... Oh, that's a terrible lifestyle choice. You know what else is a lifestyle choice that's terrible? Covering things with cheese after they've been deep fried all the time. That's also a terrible lifestyle choice, and they're just as bad. Anti-aging isn't offensive, and if you think calling something anti-aging is offensive, you're an idiot, and you're moving on. There's a second city in the United States, city of Stanford in the U.S., is the second city in the U.S. to pass a law saying that you can be fined for texting and walking. Dude, what do you think? Where do you think I'm going to go with this, Madison? What do you think I'm going to say about this? Do you think I'm going to say this is good or bad?
I'm going to say disagree.
Okay, she says disagree. One for disagree. Alex?
I think you agree.
I do agree. Alex wins. I do agree. Here's the thing. If you had asked me like a year ago, I would have said that's an idiotic thing. It's just a stupid cash grab for the city, blah, 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 blah. I would love it if Toronto passed a law like that. You know why? Because in the last 2 weeks, I have had at least 5 people bump into me on the sidewalk while they're walking along, texting. And this is the worst part. They're walking along and texting and they bump into you and they look at you like you're the asshole. No! I was looking where I'm going. You're the one that like is... And how is it they can never walk in a straight line? How is that? Like, pigeons can fly in a straight line. Is your brain less evolved than a pigeon? Is that what you're saying? Ticket them. Give them tickets. Give them all the tickets. Toronto is at like a funding shortfall. We need it. Oh, man. John Tory, buddy, pass that law. Get some cash going into the system. Rake some money off those people walking and texting. I don't care. They're terrible, horrible, rude walkers. Look at rude walker. Look at that. Have you seen this? 2 people walking with GoPros? Dude, the other day, I was walking, okay? I was walking back to the GO station, and I'm not going to lie, I was pretty stoned. Okay, I was pretty stoned when I was walking. And I swear, at one intersection, I'm walking along, and there's a guy just walking along holding a GoPro in front of him like this. And another person, they're walking along holding their camera phone like this. And another person coming from this way, they're also walking along holding a camera. And I swear, I'm like, oh my God, am I about to get like busted by like the NSA or something? There's like 4 people have like been walking around me all holding cameras pointed right at me. What's that all about? People walking around with GoPros on them all the time. Actually, that's not as rude as texting. Although maybe it is just as bad. I mean, you're filming people without getting their consent, so you're non-consensually filming people. Also, fine people for that too, John Tory. Buddy, get me on your special finds division. I'll give you lots of things to find people for. So there you go. That's 3 to 5 things we didn't have time to talk about today. And I'm having an asthma attack because I almost choked on tea. Have a great day. I did that for you.